ئەم کاتان باش بەخێر بێن بەس بۆ ئاگاداریتان ئەم پانەڵەمان بە ئینگلیزی یەکەین سو ئەو کەسانێک کە ئەیانە تەرجمەیان هەبێت لەلایەن ئۆرگنایزەرەکان توانن وەریگرن ئەم بەڕێزەی کە لە پێشەوەیە. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being in attendance today. Welcome to our panel. On a personal level, perhaps I'm biased. This is probably one of the most interesting panels because it involves women in technology. Specifically, we're going to be discussing the role of women in technology and also getting some first-hand experiences from three remarkable women who are trailblazers in the world of technology within this region. I'm joined here on the panel today with Ms. Nadine Farhad, who is the Tech Hub Manager at Workwell Iraq, along with Dr. Randi Berzanji, who is a colleague and professor of entrepreneurship at AUIS, as well as Ms. Basima Abdurrahman, who is the founder and CEO of KESK. Thank you for being here with me, ladies. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Goshan Mohammed Karadagi. I am also a lecturer at AUIS, and I'll be moderating this panel discussing the role of women in technology. I want to start, first of all, ladies, by asking you each to give us a short description and introduction to your contribution to the tech industry, particularly in this region. I want to start from Ms. Nadine, and then we'll move down the panel. Please go ahead.
Sure, thank you. Is it working?
I think so.
Okay, yes. So I belong to an organization called Preemptive Love, which is a global peacemaking community. And we have a program, as you mentioned, called Workwell Iraq. We're based in 5 locations in Iraq, in Suleimania, Erbil, Duhok, Basra, and Mosul. And we're also expanding to Mexico, Lebanon, and Syria. What we do is we find digital gaps in the market, the things that the local market need in terms of digital economy, and we fill those gaps through technology and coaching so that people can find jobs in the local market.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ms. Nadine. Dr. Randi.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am a lecturer at the American University of Iraq, Suleimania, teaching entrepreneurship, where I encourage students to go towards digitalized ideas, as well as, let's say, towards technology that we can build up in a country like Iraq that is still developing in the region. I'm also the founder of an e-commerce website, which is also tech-based. It is basically an online marketplace where people can sell and buy online from the artisans and the local-made, handmade work that people produce within the region, as well as it's also a place where people are independent sellers. So we are encouraging technology in ways that we can also support these local businesses by getting more traction to their, let's say, revenues.
Thank you, Dr. Randi. That's wonderful. And last but not least, Ms. Basima.
Hi, everyone. I am the founder and CEO of KESK. KESK means green in Kurdish. We provide hybrid solutions between green building consulting services. We promote green building smart, green building tools and services. And also we have a standalone product, which is a solar air conditioning product that works also with IoT technology.
Wonderful. It's really great to see such a wide variety of contributions from 3 very remarkable women in the tech industry in this region. I want to start by just mentioning that it's no secret that women are very underrepresented in the technological industries. It's great to see people like you here, but my question to you is, why do we need women in the tech industry? What contributions do women give that perhaps men are unable to? I want to start with you, Ms. Basima, if you can give us your views on this.
So basically, I am an engineer. I have a master's degree in structural engineering, and when I decided to get into green building, because I had the expertise, I am accredited professional by the United States Green Building Council. But I am also getting involved through our work and products with non-structural solutions, non-structural engineering solutions. So solar energy systems and IoT are all things I had to learn. And I had to get introduced to myself. So I believe that it's important we already have almost 50% of women and men graduating from tech backgrounds and fields. It's just a matter of who is going to be admitted to that career and who is encouraged to continue in that career. So now we know why we don't have enough women, because they graduate with a degree but they don't pursue a career in that field. Why we need women? We need women because we need to diversify the tech field, the tech businesses. If all tech developers are going to be young males from certain age, from 20 to 35, so how can we re-envision solutions? How can we re-envision products? How can we re-envision cars, TVs? Everything will be the same 50 years from now. So when we diversify, not only have women, we want to have different also groups of people with special needs, people with different way of looking into solutions. For example, this stage will not be developed the same way if there was one person with a special need who was in the team.
Absolutely.
They will definitely think that we need a ramp somewhere. Not everybody can get into this stage like me and you. So we need women in tech because the field needs to be diversified, needs to be inclusive, to be exact.
Thank you. That's a really significant point you raised there. Dr. Rendi, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, I agree with Basma. The thing is that it's not about the tech segment that is underestimated for women. It's more about what kind of passion or attention we give to the environment that we're in. So if we are a person ourselves, it's in our personality to go towards something that we're providing a solution for, then there are ways that we can do that. And it's not only about us being involved in technology, it's more that technology is kind of a tool for us to use to, let's say, be in charge of the solutions that we can provide. At the same time, we're doing something that maybe someone else is not paying attention to, and we want to fill in that gap. And there are so many opportunities in Iraq that we can look at and that we can fix as well. And it should be a diversified segment as well. It's more about that person itself, if they want to go towards that direction. It's not specifically tech-based and it's only male-dominated. It's more about what we see within technology that we can, let's say, enhance for a better culture as well as for a better ecosystem that we can provide within Iraq. So I think it's very important to let go of that stereotype that it's male-dominated, which is an issue around the world as well. But we also have to focus on why that is the reason and what do we focus on most that we can actually make a change for as well.
You raised a really interesting point about why it is the case. We understand that it is, but you're right that we maybe need to change our perspective. But specifically, I mean, you mentioned the issue of diversifying and representation. Ms. Nadine, is there anything else that women are able to contribute to the technological field that perhaps isn't being contributed by those who are currently representing the industry?
Yeah, so as they discussed, as Bassem and Randy discussed, I do think this is a diversity issue that we need to diversify the digital economical market. At the same time, I think this is a workforce problem. If we do not have one side of the equation in the workforce development, then the workforce is not complete so that they can serve the market, serve the communities that we go into. If we're missing out on women, then the workforce is not ready and not equipped with the digital skills that we give out to the market. So I think the gap is not only in gender. We have to go beyond the gender and see the potential that people can have to enhance the digital market, to enhance the workforce, so that we can actually better go to the technological gaps that we see and not lean it back to people or to gender most necessarily.
Exactly, and I mean, you mentioned, Dr. Randi, the issue of why, and you also mentioned, Ms. Basima, the fact that we haven't got a lack of numbers of women who are trained in technological backgrounds. So why is it, in your opinion, that we are not seeing as many female faces at the forefront of technological industry than we do in other industries? What is the main foundational reasons? I'm going to come to you, Ms. Nadine, first, and then we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's mostly lack of mentorship and lack of resources.
I see.
We see, as they discussed, when we think about technology, people perceive it as something for men. But if we educate and enlighten people that no, this is not only for men, but we need this through mentorship. I think mentorship and coaching, also empowering women to be able to go into that field. But I think this starts from day one when people go to school. And the way we perceive, or the misconception that we have about technology, is causing people not to be empowered to go to that tech sector. And it's statistically proven that even when women go to the technological sector, there's a really low retention rate there, meaning people are not encouraged to stay there only because the priority and the dominance is still given to men in that field.
Is it only a cultural issue? Is it just about perceptions, or is there something else behind that perception that this is a male industry? Ms. Basima, what do you think?
I think it's a mix of a lot of things. So first is subconscious bias. We all have subconscious bias towards who we think is going to fit in terms of color, gender, and race, where they fit in their background. So I had a visitor in our office yesterday, and the visitor was sitting with my team. And he looked at the only two male in the team, and I had a female also sitting. And he looked at the two young males sitting there, and he was like, "These are your developers?" He asked me this. So subconsciously, he excluded the male team member, the female team member. So me, as a business owner and as a woman, I can identify these biases. That's in terms of, let's say, subconscious bias we have, and cultural norms. We always look at women a certain way. That's not because of a new problem we're facing. For decades and let's say centuries, men used to be leading and developing. And this has been the case always. So just in the last few decades, women are entering the job market. But there are not enough women leaders in the job market. And that's where you don't see women able to flourish, because even the communication between male to male and male to female is different. So you are somehow, subconsciously, you can communicate with your male colleague in terms of work and tech-related topics, rather than when you're communicating with a female colleague in these topics. So it's a number of factors, basically. We just need to have enough women leaders in the market. When that happens, then we will be able to see more female in the field, in the tech field and the tech job sector.
Thank you. Dr. Randi, I want to address the same question, but with a slight addition, piggybacking off of Ms. Basima's point. We can see that we don't have many female in leadership positions. Is that the most significant obstacle to women entering the workforce in technological industries, or are there other reasons that we are not seeing women in these industries?
I think women in general are just underestimated when it comes to the workforce in general, right? it's not only technology, as I mentioned earlier as well. It's more that we kind of lack support as well, and also being underestimated when we are in a specific department or field that we're interested in. And sometimes it's also about educating students, or let's say in the lectures that I give, it's also let's say important to educate young people to say it's okay if you have this kind of idea, and if they have an idea, you support them, you encourage them, then they find it's okay, it's a standard. So it's not something weird that I'm doing. It usually happens within every culture in the world. It's not let's say an Iraqi or a Kurdish issue that we have, but I think it's more about educating and at the same time encouraging and supporting people, that there are so many ways that we can let's say increase the workforce in terms of women, and that it's okay that if they can talk about a subject that men are discussing within on a table or in a discussion room or in a meeting, that it's okay for them to be involved as well. And then once you leave the part out that you are a woman, you will be respected, and you will be kind of taken seriously once you believe that what you're doing is actually something that you're good at, and it doesn't matter if you're female and whether you're female or male, right?
Absolutely.
So it's more about supporting, educating, and encouraging female in the workforce and listening to them. It's important to have that in tech, in any workforce that there is.
Thank you. So speaking as someone who isn't necessarily involved in the world of tech as you ladies are, do you, from what you're saying as we're speaking in this panel, do you agree that perhaps there's space for women in starting and maybe mid-level positions, but then we are capped in terms of opportunities to reach higher levels, or is that not a significant issue that you faced in your experiences? Who wants to address that? Ms. Nadim?
Yeah, definitely. So what I think is that when we think about women entering the tech sector, I think that's only a push, but we also need a pull from the market. We need people in the market to pull women into the system. As she explained, we have to have room for them to explain themselves. Sometimes I think it takes twice as a man to explain yourself about technology as if a man they have to explain themselves half of what you do just to convince them that this is what you believe in tech. Simply because, as Ms. Bassima mentioned, simply because we have that subconscious bias that men will know better about technology, and the bias will always be given to them. So I think it's more of a two-way street, and we need that push and pull from both the market and women themselves so they can...
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your own personal experiences regarding your infiltration of the technological industries as 3 successful examples of women in tech. What specific examples of obstacles and perhaps not obstacles but the opposite, so encouragements, did you experience in your journey to get to where you are in terms of your technological advancements? Mr. Randi, I want to start with you.
From my experience, from the past 2-3 years that I've been involved in e-commerce and the digitalized world, I think I kind of went towards programs that were encouraging women. I think I made the decision to go towards the programs instead of those that might be underestimating our work and whatever vision we have. So I think, first of all, we are responsible for how we approach different programs and how we go towards our own work and the vision that we have for the markets that we're trying to fill in, right? So I think in terms of obstacles, I've had a lot of, let's say, support and non-obstacles in terms of the business that I am in at this moment, because I approach different programs that were encouraging actually women to be in those programs of female founders, or were encouraging us to be in programs like accelerators. So they didn't differentiate us in terms of, okay, you're female, you cannot be part of this.
Yeah.
And I think when we believe in ourselves and when we actually go towards something that we're serious about, when we go towards these programs, they want us to be part of it as well, and they want to encourage us as well. But there are a lot of obstacles that women face in general and in tech as well when they go towards a certain company, because that company might be biased itself. that place might be biased itself and also might be underestimating these women that are coming with very good education, with very good, let's say, experience in the work that they do, the expertise that they have, but that place might have that company culture where you can actually not change within a few years, right? So it's more about people's perceptions of what women can do in the workforce and how they believe it themselves, for themselves. It's actually that kind of look that we have to take into consideration, because that's what I have experienced.
Thank you, that's wonderful. Ms. Batimo, what's your comments on this?
So in terms of my personal experience trying to infiltrate into this job market, let's say, I think what was helping me is that subconsciously I wasn't thinking that I'm being discriminated against because I'm a female. So I was always thinking around what am I really missing, and I was trying to equip myself with the right skills and knowledge to whomever I'm going to talk to about my business and our work and our solution. This was the most important thing. But when people start asking me, how are you perceived as a female founder in a male-dominated field, then I started, trying to be conscious about this area. Just because when we started green building, we're the only company doing green building in Iraq. And I believe until now we're the only company who is doing green building. Yes, our solar AC is, maybe it's a new concept, but solar in general is not new. All I need to do is to get equipped. I think it's good to benefit from all the programs that are encouraging having women in STEM field, and try to, as a woman, if you're trying to get into that market, is that to find being a woman as an advantage to get more support to get into this market. So personally, maybe I have been facing this kind of discrimination. It just at the early the stage of our business, I was not even aware of it. I was more thinking that we're young, we're bringing a new concept. I mean, all the odds are against us. So this was only one of the things that I had to worry about.
That's interesting.
My experience.
So just to clarify my understanding, do you think that your awareness of perhaps discriminations against you because of your gender or your sex was in and of itself an obstacle, because your awareness of it made you feel like it was a boundary you had to overcome? Was the ignorance of that better, or was it better when you knew that you were being discriminated against because of it?
To be honest, I wasn't really able to. Let's say I have a seminar. I am giving a lecture to senior staff, members of different ministerial departments attending. What I'm thinking is that they think that I am young, they think I'm a female, they think I don't have enough information to give. But once I start talking, I know very well what I'm talking about.
Right.
Then I see the change in their facial expression, and I start understanding that now this filter, this social norm filter is removing. Excellent. And now they see me as someone who actually knows very well about this topic more than they are, and they have to listen to what I can provide here. Right. So maybe it's only the first 5 minutes when you have to prove, or you have to help remove that social norm filter.
Interesting.
And then everything will be fine.
That's a really interesting point. Ms. Nadine, do you have a similar experience with this?
Yeah, so in the past 3 years course of my experience, what I have experienced is, in terms of being a woman in tech, my experience actually have been fairly positive. The reason why I find it to be positive is that it has been a learning experience for me, because every time I had to face a challenge is a flip coin side. The other side is just opportunities. And I have found the opportunities to learn. And given the fact that technology is a very fast-growing field, the more you learn, the better you are updated in terms of the skills that you acquire. But in terms of challenge, I have the opportunity to work with a lot of people. We train people on tech skills so they can find jobs. The challenge that I have faced in that process is to convince people that actually this can be for women as well. And we get to work with underserved and vulnerable communities, and it gets harder and harder. The more vulnerable the community is, the harder it is to convince them that technology can be for them as well. And gladly, in the year of 2020 and 21, we have over 50% of female participants in our program, and they are also finding jobs in technology. But it hasn't been an easy process to convince people. I have had cases where we had to talk with parents to convince them that this can be a good opportunity for their daughter to participate in a program that would teach them about the technical skill. Because, as we mentioned, the market is not ready to take a lot of females. And the more we equip it with women, the better we are in the long run.
So would you agree with me in saying that perhaps the best thing that a woman can do is to challenge these concepts is to just be present and not be intimidated by those views? As you said, it takes 5 minutes. If you have something of substance, that will instantly melt away. Is that something that you think is a valid point to give, or a piece of advice to give our budding female tech industry people? Okay, I'm going to take your nods as the answer. Thank you very much. I want to come to now the concept of how do we get more. So we've mentioned some of the obstacles, we've mentioned some of the things that are positive. How do we actively encourage more young, or perhaps not so young women to enter or to thrive in the technological industries? Dr. Wendy, I want to start with you.
How do we encourage people towards technology, right? And
women specifically, yeah.
I think we can do that through education, and also the opportunities that are available, and also how much of value it will bring to a society and a community, because technology is something that can reach to anyone, anywhere, right? We can encourage them that it's as valuable as being a doctor or as valuable as being a lawyer, right? We can actually educate students, educate young girls to say, what do you like? What is the field that you like? And then go towards something that is related to technology that can be made easy and find solutions for these problems that are within a specific field that that person is passionate about. And I think technology is very important. Without technology, this all wouldn't be happening, right? And in today's world, the digital world is innovating more and faster than ever. So I think the importance is already clear. Also, in terms of social media and awareness that we're raising, it's all going through digitalization, and also the world is a smaller place because of technology. So I think it's very important to define what technology is and what kind of fields there are, what kind of segments there are, and what kind of solution you can provide for society to bring value, to support these young girls, to make a change, or at least find a solution for a specific problem that you have, because there are many thousands of other people that might have the same issue as well. Absolutely. And this is how we encourage a community in terms of the importance of technology. And I think it's a fast-growing industry, and it's as important as any other industry, maybe more important to be aware of. And in today's world, if we are not aware of technical solutions or any new applications or gadgets that are available, we might not be educated enough, right? So we have to always be updated about the latest technology, the latest solutions, the latest startups, to encourage others that it's important. Look, it makes a difference. It makes people's lives easier, and also you bring value to a society as well.
Thank you. So education and awareness is the cornerstone of improving access for women. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Excellent. Now, besides education and awareness, what would you suggest, Mr. Nadine, is a great or a useful, pragmatic way to have more women enter the field of technology?
Yeah, I think it starts from self-awareness, and when you are in a business, you have to be intentional to see if you're including women in your business. we are at a stage that we have to be biased at some point to include women intentionally so that we set up a role model for other people to be encouraged to step in. And also to be a good listener, to listen to the market, but also to listen to the needs of the market so that you equip people with relevant information rather than just equipping them with something that they cannot benefit from. Because in the long run, then you would be technically discouraging people because they wouldn't find opportunities in the market with the relevant coaching that they would receive. But I think inclusion and self-awareness to intentionally include people is one of the ways to include women, and also to find challenge. That is another point that I think that we underestimated, but I think the more we understand what is needed, the more we can actually equip the market better, the more we can equip the workforce better to be able and to be equipped. So I think inclusion and finding challenge and finding gaps. Just now when we are thinking about this challenge, I think this is a red flag, the green flag, sorry, that we are actually showing and thinking about it, and we are starting to be self-aware.
Thank you. Ms. Basima, what's your take on this? What would be the best mechanism of encouraging more women into the tech industry?
I think it's already obvious that we have more than 50% of graduates maybe every year. I'm not sure about the statistics here, but globally, more than 50% of the graduates of STEM field schools are women. So if you're doing so well at school, that means you're going to do so well as well in your career, in your STEM career. So you need to push extra, not just because you are a woman and you are in Iraq. I mean, globally, you have to prove yourself more than your male colleague. And that's okay, because once you prove yourself at the beginning, you will be an important member of the team. And I agree also with Nareen. Business owners need to be conscious about the diversity of their team. And even if they think this adding a female member to their tech team is going to need some time for her to learn, it's okay. You are empowering a woman. This woman needs 6 months only, and then you will see the amazing results of your team because you have empowered and included this one team member. So also this is the business owner's responsibility towards society and diversifying also their business. They need to make sure their service or solution needs to be equally receptive to all customers, male and female, and that's why you need to have a female members in your team. So I addressed women, saying that you have to be courageous because you're doing very well at school, you can do very well at your career. Business owners, don't keep women on administration, with all due respect to all different kind of fields, but if you bring an engineer and you put her in a desk to do administration or accounting or HR work, this is unfair. And I've talked to a lot of women from science and engineering fields in Erbil. They say when we go to employers, they are offering them these jobs. They offer them to do HR work, administration work, or accounting, and they are graduates.
Roles, it seems.
They are graduates of engineering fields. Why are you limiting them? With all due respect to all fields and all jobs, but you should not be doing this as a business owner. So I believe I addressed all different sectors, from female to business owners to the society.
Absolutely. I mean, as always, there's never a simple answer. And I think it just goes to show that there are multifaceted issues here that we have to address simultaneously to be able to achieve the goal of having more females in tech. Now, many of you mentioned the responsibilities of businesses and also the opportunities that some of you have utilized, which are female-centered, right, to encourage more women. But locally and perhaps globally, often we hear criticisms of this, which is that it's a positive discrimination and it's denying the ability to have other equally equipped individuals to have access to certain positions. I'm intrigued to know what your take on this comment is. Do you think that this positive selection of females to allow them to enter the field is a justified mechanism when it comes to encouraging equality and fairness in the work field? I want to come to Ms. Nadine because you're nodding most profusely, and then we'll come down to the rest of the panel.
Definitely. So I think one thing that is causing that at the moment, if we talk about it locally in Iraq, is that for so long we have had oil as our main source of income, as our main source of economic growth, and it has been a success story. We have had a good GDP with the oil that we have been getting in, but one understanding that we should have is that people is our main resource, and the more opportunities, the more equal opportunities we give to our people, the better we are equipped in the market. And regarding that comment, I wouldn't think I think it's exactly a justification to not include women in technology, because we're under the estimation that men would do a greater job if they are given that opportunity. Given opportunities alone is not enough. Given equal quality of opportunity is what is needed at the moment. So I think the quality that we give to women is important as we will give them the number of opportunities. It's not about the quantity that we give. I think it's more about including them in that field so that there are other people who would be encouraged and inspired by them.
Thank you. Dr. Rendi, do you agree with this?
Yes, I agree with Nadia. And also, we have to point out that it's very important to provide trainings as well at every workforce that we have and every field that we have to make women less justified in terms of this belongs to you, this department belongs to you, and this belongs to you, and you have to go there. Because I personally know a lot of people that have graduated from IT or computer science that are actually going towards being a teacher or going towards being something else that they'd studied. So maybe it's something that they experience going towards some company or a workforce that they were very excited about, and then when they saw that there is a lot of discrimination going on, they backed off and they went into the balanced way of being accepted somewhere else, right? So I think it's very important to provide trainings, and it's also these, let's say, corporations' jobs to provide women with equality as well. It's everyone's job to support each other, and so it's also something that they have to consider, that women are, when it comes to thinking more consciously and thinking more carefully about solutions, especially in math and technology, women are more aware of that, and they're way better with, let's say, providing solutions. So it's not, it shouldn't be discriminated in this way, and it should be supported by workforces to provide trainings. Even if they think if they're not qualified enough, they can provide training to test it out and see how they can include women within the fields that they're in. So I think it's very important to provide programs, trainings, and encouragement and support from them that they believe that women can do it as well, because we are smarter, as we have genetically proved.
Well, we have a different perspective,
Yes.
certainly, and so that would be a definite contribution to the world of work. Ms. Basima, I'm curious to know, the statement of looking for a female engineer, is it necessary to have the word female in a job application? Is it acceptable to have that? Or should we have a more equal opportunity, but with an understanding that females should also be applying? What do you think to this?
I mentioned at the very beginning of the panel is that because in general, on the job market, in the workforce in general, men were the main contributors to all different job sectors. And women started entering the market and being recognized little by little, and we're still not there. So the fact that sometimes we prioritize, if you have So we hear this a lot, right? I've talked to a lot of people. They say, there is a discrimination. I applied for this job. Another female applied, and they accepted her just because she's a woman. Mm-hmm. And this is a wrong perception. There's no way they are going to give away all the skills area just for the fact that she's a female. They want a skilled member, but the employer needs to diversify their team. So if they have a team of engineers of 10 male engineers, of course they will look for a female engineer. If you have two candidates, they're both qualified for the job, one of them is a male and the other is female, they will prioritize the female because they have to diversify their team. So this kind of selection process is not against men. It's mostly to empower women. Absolutely. Because they are minority in the workforce. And they need to be empowered to the level when we have enough women. If I want to be ambitious like so many other women outside, I would say 50-50. This is the goal, but we are, even globally, in any developed country, is not 50-50, but we need to empower women. We need to push women forward, and that is not discrimination against men, but also I disagree with posting a job title saying we need a female engineer. Mm-hmm. It's an engineer. There is no... you should not specify this is male, this is female. Even gender now is not a topic that we can just specify in two ways. So it has to be an engineer, but also if you have two qualified candidates and the employer went with a female, that should be encouraged. We want more engineer females in the market.
Thank you, and that's really interesting. It seems like those statements that are made are also rooted in these sort of genderized norms and beliefs about the abilities of women. Oh, they pick the woman just because she's a woman and not because she has equal or perhaps more contribution to the field, and that needs to be changed somehow. We're coming towards the end of the panel now, and I just want to end with a very simple question, which, well, simple in answer, but actually complex in concept. We've discussed the obstacles and the way that women can be encouraged. And all three of you have given examples of governmental, private sector, and also individual attempts or mechanisms of trying to infiltrate the industry. My question to you is, whose responsibility should it be of those three sectors to, I suppose, open the door for the other two sectors to follow? Who should be the one trailblazing? Is it women who should ask for that space? Is it the government who should demand that the industries make that space? Or is it the responsibility of the private sector or other industries to take that personal responsibility to do that? And you can answer with just a simple which one or neither. I don't know. I'm going to start with Natalie and we'll move down. Go ahead.
Definitely. I think it's a communal responsibility from everyone, and it's an inclusion from everyone. So, and it should be an ongoing effort. It cannot happen overnight, and it's from the women themselves to be equipped and to be coached, and from the market and every single industry to expect those skills in their field. So I think it's from everyone. I wouldn't exclude anyone.
Yes. Dr. Ranji?
Yes, I agree with that as well, because we cannot exclude a part and then say they are fully responsible for us as women to make space in the tech world or any workforce that it is available in society. I think it's society's job to encourage women, to train women, and to also normalize women being in the workforce. It's already happening, as you see. It's happening, and it's also increasing, and people are having more ambitious. It's less about, let's say, being discriminated. It's more about how eager are we to enter the workforce, and also how much are we supported by the government, private sectors, trainings, and the fields that we are interested in as well. So it's a societal responsibility overall.
Thank you. Can I assume that you're going to say something similar, Ms. Basima?
It's exactly the same thing. I believe that women should work for it. And I believe that with government reforms, the private sector will follow.
Absolutely.
To have at least a minimum percentage of women to be in the workforce. And so they're all together, they can help empower women into STEM fields.
I hope so. And I mean, I want to just end by saying it's really, we underestimate the power of visibility. And actually, it's wonderful that the three of you are here on this stage today as a prime example as female bosses in the field of technology, in different areas of technology. And I suppose the visibility of examples like yourselves will only therefore encourage other budding technological females and also other minorities also. So thank you for being here. Thank you for participating in this panel. We're not done yet. I want to open the floor for questions. Agar هیچ کسی پرسیاری که هست با پانلیست کامن پیم و به میکروفون من هست تو آنن بپرسیم. Are there any questions? We've addressed that. Okay, we have a question at the front.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Hi. So I'm so glad that I attend this panel, and I'm so glad to see a woman leader in technology.
I'm sorry, could you speak just a little bit louder? I'm so sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, good. So I have a small comment, and I agree with Ms. Basima. It's not one sector's job to see more women lead, like as leaders in technology. Because as a woman, I was raised to see leaders who not look like me or sound like me in senior positions. So I'm not used to see women in leader positions. That's why we need to teach like the little girls and to show them there are like women just like them can do it and they can make it that far. So I agree with them. It's a government job. It's a private sector job. It's not just technology field job. It's all the fields. They should be all working together to make women more active as leaders and to show women as leaders and be like an example and role models for others to encourage them and be involved in as like to have ambitions and to build a career. Plus, regarding the, you said mentioning gender in job descriptions, even if they don't mention genders, we all know we have unseen pressure on women. Because if I made a mistake, if I fail in doing something, they probably say, because you're a woman. Mm-hmm. And that's expected from you. So that's why it doesn't matter if they mention male or female. Even if I get the job and the opportunity, there will always be more pressure on me.
Absolutely.
So that's why, yes, we need to give more time for women. Even if they have skills, even if they have the knowledge, they still have a lot of pressure on them. So we need to give them, like, encourage them more and give them more opportunities. Yeah, it's not equal. It should not be equal. Like, we should support them more than men. It's normal because we have more pressure. And finally, thank you so much for being here. I'm so proud to see all of you. And inshallah, we'll see more women leaders in technology and other fields as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those contributions. Are there any questions from the floor or any other comments? We have one over here. I'm sorry, over there. Thank you very much.
Hi.
Hello.
It was really great to see all of you. I'm very impressed by all the work that all three of you have done, and I really appreciated all the comments from you all. My question is to you, what can men do in the workplace that can better support women in technology? And when these concerns of, maybe there's a lack of confidence in women's ability to perform like men, what can other men do in the workplace that can maybe stop that or support those women in those positions?
That's a really significant question. Thank you so much. Who wants to speak? Miss Batima's quite keen. Go ahead.
I have a very small advice to any male employer. Women tend to undersell themselves. Men tend to oversell themselves. This is a global statistics. I am not trying to offend anybody. It is well known everywhere. So when you are interviewing a woman in a STEM field job and she sounds not confident, she is not sure about what she's saying, she is a bit scared, it's mainly because of that. So give a woman a chance. Give her a probation period, a month or two, for her to prove herself. And also push her, empower her. Because we tend to undersell ourselves everywhere. Even if you see those successful women sitting here, when we are going to go and talk to somebody, we don't tell them about what we do. We will just sit in the middle of the group. We will be quiet. We don't talk about ourselves. We don't talk about work. We don't talk about achievements. This is just something, this is how we're built. So give that woman a chance.
That's a brilliant piece of advice. Thank you. Dr. Wendy, your comments on this?
What can men do to encourage women, right? I think what they in general can do is support when they underestimate themselves. It's actually proven that women are less confident than men when it comes to exams, tests, or interviews, whatever the field they're going for is. It just a natural thing that we have developed, but what we have to do as well is, let's say, understand each other. So when there is competition within a workforce, give a woman a break. Like, don't, when you hear stuff about opportunities that doesn't include that specific female in the workforce, speak up for that woman. Include her and support her throughout the work, and encourage her that you can encourage women, support women within the workforce, anywhere else, and speak up for her when you see what is happening that takes away her opportunity in the workforce without no reason, right? So I think that's what men can do in the workforce, just to support, be there, and also be. We can be very competitive, but when it comes to opportunities, we might be excluded without no reason. So you can speak up for that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. Ms. Nadine.
Yeah, I agree with Randy. I think inclusion intentionally is one way to include women. At the same time, to give them a push and to look beyond gender. I think that is something that men and our community in general exclude in their decision-making processes, that they look at the gender first and then they look at the potential. But I think that should be in reverse, to look at the potential that person has and to look at the execution and to give them time and to give them probation, as Basima mentioned. So I think it's a combination of both encouragement and also to see what is not easy to see behind those closed doors that women sometimes choose to close, but then just to have that invisible eye to see what we can see beyond the capabilities.
I think that's a really fair point. And if I may be so bold as to give my advice on this as a gender expert, the role of men in society is always to use the privilege that they have and have been given to in order to level the playing field for women in the society. So the first thing any man can do is to check themselves, have some self-reflection regarding their views on women and the biases that they inherently have towards them. Don't assume that when a woman comes for an interview, they're coming for the secretary position. Let them speak on what they want to do, how they can contribute, and what they can provide, and then allow them, as my panelists here have suggested, allow them the space to do that when they may not be able to have the privilege to make the space for themselves. That would be the best contribution that men can do in order to encourage women in any field, specifically in male-dominated fields. Would you agree with me, ladies?
Yes.
Excellent. Are there any other, thank you so much for that wonderful question. Are there any other questions from the floor? If there are no more comments and questions, I can end by saying I want to thank the dear panelists here. Again, it's really makes me very happy and very optimistic to see such wonderful examples of female trailblazers in the technological industry. And it's wonderful to see so many of you in the audience here listening to us regarding this topic. Thank you again for your attention and your time. And thank you, ladies, for your contributions to this panel. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.